Oh, no, it's not. Mahdi Hassan down to long leg. He just paddles it round with the bounce. The rain has started coming down at the Oval.
Come on, the Duke.
Yeah.
Piss it down now. Given a Bangladesh 155 for 6, 1 point each and rained off. It's got a ring to it, hasn't it?
It would be very funny. Who can tell me what the Italian word for zampa is?
Zampa.
I mean, okay, wait. What does it mean?
Foot.
So close.
That's pulled by Tamim down towards long leg. They should come back for 2 if they got any sense. Yeah, they do indeed.
You're technically correct, but what is an animal's foot called?
Hoof.
Nearly. What's a lion's foot called?
Paw.
Very good. That's what Zampa is. And thank you to George Young for that.
I was thinking of Thumper from Bambi.
Okay. Woi it says, I think Dr. Dan Diaper is vegan.
The skies, and looking at the umpire, they are...
Going to have a chat?
He's putting a ball in his pocket. I think they're going off.
No, because they've got balls from either end.
Oh, yeah, balls from either end, true.
Try to keep up. First, we take Manhattan is Zampa's 3rd wicket of the day. This could get very ugly indeed, so I shall away. Good night, chaps. May tomorrow be more engrossing.
Bonsoir.
Sad, but Manhattan, it's, I suppose, time for their 11Z's nap or something, is it?
Yeah.
Do we know if First We Take Manhattan is in Manhattan?
I believe he is. In which case, just got up.
Yeah, exactly. It must be morning now.
Yeah, exactly. Zampa in bowls. It's cut from about off stump by Hassan down to 3rd man, and there will be no run. Very, very dark indeed. So it's going to absolutely piss it down in a minute. Zampa is up to the crease. Bowles floats that up, clipped into the leg side, only as far as mid-wicket.
We better get a weather forecast up for the day, haven't we? Just to see. I'm going to BBC Weather. Did I just advertise something I wasn't supposed to?
Right. We're on the internet. You can advertise whatever you like. That's worked into the leg side nicely by Mehdi Hassan. He beats mid-wicket, and it goes off towards long leg, and they get a single. They've scored to 160 for 6. They've still got 11 overs left.
Tuesday's not looking good either, is it?
No.
And in Cardiff? Looking poor in Cardiff as well as London?
I could tell you that, couldn't I?
Tuesday's looking particularly bad everywhere. That's tipped off the legs of Tamim down towards fine leg, and he'll get himself a single. There's a big storm that's coming up and going to plonk itself right over the middle of England by the middle of tomorrow morning. Cardiff may be on the outskirts of it, so it might clear later. But I don't think they'll start on time tomorrow. You never know with these things, do you? Weather can move through quicker than it's supposed to all the time. Short doesn't really get up, but beats the man at short fine leg. Is anyone back there? Please don't be anyone back there. There is anyone back there. Excellent. Mehdi Hassan's got himself a 4, and Bangladesh to get 4 more runs. 165 for 6.
4. Good God, yeah.
That was a good shot.
Was, yeah. He watched it well. Tucked it round the corner, found the gap, and even on a grey day at the Oval, the ball does scoot over the outfield.
Along, yeah. And the more you can get it running across the grass, the harder it will be able to grip for Zampa.
Double teapot from Piggy's
He's always
men.
doing double teapots, Piggy. Clipped into the leg side by Hassan. To the man at mid-wicket. There is no run. This will be my last over. At the end of this over, Manny is going to do ball by ball because he's got to go. Like me, I've got to go shortly. But I'll be back later. But I think Manny's going to go, and he may not be back later.
In the balance.
So grabbing one of those people and come in one of them, will you have a well-deserved rest.
Okay.
And then you will do the first stint of the next innings.
Okay, if there is one, I mean,
there will
Australia must be very worried, though, and the longer that Bangladesh bat, of course, means the longer that Australia have to bat, especially about 20 overs, we think, is cut off to get a game.
It is, but with this many wickets down, their DL score may well be quite drastically reduced and quite an easy hit, especially with, if they get 20 overs, they've got 10 wickets and they have to get, 160 or something.
Oh, yeah. I see, 20 overs, yeah.
Yeah. Hazelwood is going to come up to the crease. Bowles. It's pulled off the hip by Tamim. He should get back for 2 if he's got any sense. He's between deep square leg and a man. He's hit it sort of square actually between the man at long leg and deep mid wicket. Does get back for 2.
A superb innings by Tamim.
It is 89. You can't knock it.
Given only 100 in the last match as well. Was it 130?
Yeah.
And 26.
Well, if you can do that again today, they might have something a sniff.
Yeah.
It'll be a small sniff.
He'll be up there somewhere in the most run getters in the tournament at the moment, I assume.
Yeah.
Chance.
Worked into the leg side again by Tamim. Sets off as if there might be 2, but there's not. There's a man at deep mid, at mid wicket in the circle, on the edge of the circle. It goes to him, and he gets a single. He's batted really well.
He had a couple of brain phases. When he's
a couple of lucky escapes where he's landed in no man's land, but you ride your luck, don't you?
Yeah, when he's charged down the track and pirouetted, pulled or hacked at the ball a couple of times. But apart from that, I agree with you. I think he's held this together for Bangladesh.
Hazelwood in is defended by Mahedi Hassan, back down the track to the bowler, and there's no run. That's 3 off the first 3 balls of the over. I mean, 6 and over from here will get them, another 60, 66?
230.
230. It's light, but it does give you something to bowl it.
Do you think they've got the floodlights on there?
I think they've had the floodlights on for a while.
Yep. Dr. Dan, thank you. Another wonderful tweet of Steve Smith on his knees.
Well, if only.
That's the best place for him.
Yes. Right. I'm looking forward to seeing Australia go to Bangladesh on a tour for Test cricket. That's played down towards third man. Will I get a single?
It never happened. They refuse to turn up. They always wimp out, don't they?
Well, this is it. This is why I want to see them. We were brave enough to go there and lose a test on their own. I mean, if they served up the pitches they served to us.
Yeah, but it's not for cricketing reasons. I know.
Well, they're supposed to go for a tour though before the Ashes, aren't they? They're supposed to go for a mini tour. All Bangladesh supposed to go to Australia.
Some reason to bottle out of it.
I want to see it. I really want to see it.
Yeah. Well, they got murdered, didn't they, in India? It was most amusing.
Well, they did, but India were oddly off colour as well, weren't they, in that series? Pulled by Tamim again, this straight down to long leg, though. We will only get a single.
I mean, I think India almost took them too lightly in the first test, and Australia got home, fair play. But after that, it was one-way traffic. I mean, they lost 2 of the next 3 tests, and they were hanging on for grim death for a draw in the other one. So, I mean, and their record, Australia's record in India is pitiful.
Yes.
Would we like our first limerick of the day from Jeff Perkins?
Oh, go for it.
Oh, please.
If conditions become damper, off the field they could all scamper. It mightn't be good for Zampa. His leg spin, it could hamper. Sort of a limerick. Thank you.
Hassan tips that round the corner to the man at long leg. Gets himself a single. It's 171 for 6 after 40. Manny's going to take over from me for jingles. For commentary, and Grubby and Ian are going to join him for the last 10 overs of this innings.
Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket.
We're back live, 171 for 6. 10 overs to go. Welcome. Good afternoon, guys.
Hello, Manny.
Yeah, 230 maybe if Tamim stays there. Maybe a few more if he bats through, possibly.
I mean, it's a good individual effort by him,
but with nothing else from the other end.
Underwhelming
really.
Overall, isn't it?
Yeah, very. It'll be Mitchell Stark back into the attack. He's got 4 overs to bowl. He bowled slightly wide in the crease, and it's nicely struck by Hassan, but straight to backward point where Maxwell fields in some sort of fashion. It hasn't been flawless by Maxwell at all today. Unlike him, he dropped a very possible catch. Hit hard, but straight to him. Sadly, didn't break his fingers.
You were very cruel about that next door.
Oh, yeah. That was one of my top moments in sport in 2009 when their spinner got castled by a return catch that he shelled off Andrew Strauss. Pushed into the offside by Hassan. It'll scamper through for a quick single. Mahedi on to 10. Tamim back on strike on 91 from 109, which, given the circumstances, 172 for 6. You can see the importance of this knock to the Bangladeshi cause, because without him, Australia would be batting by now.
Yeah.
Frankly. And again, in the circumstances, a pretty decent strike rate, 91 from 109. Mitchell Stark to the left-handed Tamim. Here waits and back of a length, and he dabs it down, trying to beat Smith at a backward point. A dive by Smith saves the single.
Can someone send us in all the steps to the Steve Smith disco dance?
No, there are too many. There are just
Someone's
so many.
got to invent one, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's St. Vitus dance, isn't it? It's horrible.
Twitch, spit,
Oh, it's
pick.
ghastly. I mean, when he's batting as well, the number of times he's got to
Horrible,
readjust
isn't it?
his box.
Horrible.
Oh, please, leave your genitals alone, Piggy. Stark in bowls. Tamim guides that down through the line of about a second step. That's well played. It will be cut off just before the boundary sponge, but Tamim is back quickly for the second. He played, it was a really late cut or a late dab, and it's raining there quite heavily. You can see it quite clearly. The umpires have been briefed to stay out whenever possible, and they are staying out thus far. 93 to Tamim. Nigel Long looks bloody miserable. He's thinking, I'm really not being paid enough to stand out here getting wet.
No.
But that's your job, fella. 174 for 6.
He looks like one of my university lecturers when I saw him on the outskirts of the town. He wasn't happy to be there in driving rain.
Stark in bowls, and down the leg side, filth. A tumbling Wade stops it. It is one wide. 175 for 6. And which town was this? Your lecturer was getting wet?
Cambridge, sir.
Oh, right. Oh, posh university, a proper university.
Yeah, we pretended so. I can't find the wine jingle. It's a bit annoying.
175 for 6. Mitchell Stark. Left-hand bowler to left-hand bat. He bowls down the leg side. It's clipped off his hip by Tamim. Down to long leg for an agreed single. It looks like Zampa doing the fielding down there. It is 176 for 6. Tamim moves on by 1 to 94.
You were talking before about amusing and unfortunate things that have befallen Aussie spinners. Was it not Adam Zampa recently who accidentally ran someone out fielding the ball off his nose?
Yes. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
And you can see the footage if you YouTube that up.
They replayed it only about 20 times on
cannons
TV.
Off his nose, and he runs the fella out. So it's just misery upon misery.
Stark round the wicket bowls. A full bunger, thick outside edge down to third man. Should just be a single. And Hassan will keep the strike at the end of the 41st over. We're in power play 377 for 6. Any tweets?
Yeah, we got a few. Dr. Dan said he was vegan for 4 years, but embarrassingly only vegetarian for a third of a century. Cheese and cakes were a downfall.
Our very own Gary Naylor is a staunch vegetarian, I believe.
Yeah, Woy Pommerbroad. His nephew, Beardy Ed, was born vegetation. We got first we take Manhattan's fairness. I do make it tough for him with my dislike of the Aussie cricket team. Messi Jez, he remembers where Mogg is though, despite his similar predilections. So I think we're up to date on those.
Are our Aussie listeners still with us, as in our listeners from Australia? Is it like Margie's still there? Middle of the night, surely, man. When do you sleep? We're delighted to have you with us, though, of course.
177 for 6. It'll be Zampa with his ridiculous Alice band on in bowls. Good length ball outside the off stump, which is pushed nicely by Hassan, but straight to cover, and there is no run. There's a lot to like about this boy as a cricketer. He's got a lot about him. Zampa in bowls, too short, and that's cut by Hassan. Good shot, but doesn't meet the short third man, who's Pat Cummings, who needlessly falls on the ground to field that.
Like a wardrobe falling over.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was quite that attractive. Zampa. 3 or 4 paces in, he bowls wide outside off stump. Hassan can use the width to guide it into the gap out to the cover sweeper, who's the stocky Finch, who trots in, picks up the ball. Just one to Hassan. He moves on to 12. Tamim will strike on 94. Is he going to try and launch Zampa? We shall see. 6 needed for his ton. Over the wicket he bowls to the left-handed. Tamim bowls and he dabs it down through the line of a second or third slip, and short third man has to move to his right to field, allowing them to scamper through for a single. 95 to Tamim. Bangladesh 179 for 6, having won the toss and chosen to bat. This has been an average at best, and that's been kind to the batting performance. Zampa in bowls, and dibble-dabble sweep from Hassan. Played that nicely. Down to fine leg. Should pick up a couple of runs, and does, as Warner comes around from long leg to do the fielding. 2 to Hassan. He moves on to 14 from 18, and has looked very confident, don't you think?
Well, as you say, he's a very competent cricketer. Lots about him.
Yeah.
The previous ball, the last ball but one, kept a bit low, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I think it's slightly too paced. Having sung his praises, Hassan tries an ambitious sweep from outside off stump. It was a quicker, flatter delivery from Zampa. Hassan got nothing on it, and Wade just about parried the ball. There is no run. It completes the over. 4 from it. He's taken 2 for 13 from his 4. Bangladesh have limped on to 181 for 6. We've got 8 overs left. We're in power play 3.
Jeff says he thinks Mog only comes out at night, and Messi Jez is still here, despite the stupid idea of scheduling a day-night game for 2 countries in darkness at the start.
That's really a very fair point.
Yeah, to piss them both off. We've probably succeeded. From the Vauxhall Road end, it will be Mitchell Stark. No, it won't, sorry, from the Pavilion end. I do beg your pardon. In and bowls to Tamim, who has skied that in the air. This should be out. Is there somebody underneath it? There is, and he has taken the catch.
How annoying.
Stark has his man. He tried to play that short arm pull. It tucked him up for a bit of room. He got a top edge, and it's flown all the way down to fine leg, where Josh Hazelwood has trotted in and fallen forward and taken a regulation catch, and Tamim is out. I suppose he'll just check the no ball, but other than that, he will be departing. It was a good innings, but he's on his way. He made 95 from 114. He's getting a good hand as well. He might, because it's been a lone hand really played by Tamim. And given that he was getting almost nothing from the other end, he's also managed to engineer a pretty good strike rate of 80 plus during that innings, which, considering that he had to sort of stay in check for part of that time, I would suggest is a mighty fine effort.
He
really
probably played as he had to play, not quite allowing himself to cut loose too early. He's an exquisite timer of the ball,
isn't he?
At his best, and when he can free his arms a little outside his off stump and play those beautiful shots through and over the covers, as we saw a little bit in this innings. Very few finer sights among modern day batsmen, really.
Leading run scorer of the tournament so far.
I thought comfortably
128 and 95.
And
I think he had a century in the game before the 128 in one of the warm-up games as well. So he was going for a hat trick of sorts there, but fell a little short.
And
impressive.
like so many good players, he just seems to have time, doesn't he, to play. We have a new man to the crease, and do we have a jingle for this man?
We do. It's this one.
Oh, your knees are fucked. Mashrafe Mortaza. Oh, your knees are fucked. Mashrafe Mortaza. Oh, your knees are fucked. Fucked. 'Cause you fucked your knees.
And Stark bowls a ball that was just far too good for Mortaza, about 3 yards too quick for him. And the only reason he's still at the crease is because it flashed past his off stump. It was full, it was Yorker length, and Mortaza knew sod all about it, through to Wade, and there is no run as we see Yet another replay of Hazelwood needlessly falling over as he takes the catch. And Tamim knew immediately that he played it, that he was in trouble, and so he was.
One of those fast bowlers, Unions dismissals caught at long leg.
And he needed just the 2 balls to get rid of Mortaza, who was trying to play a forward defensive shot whilst camped on the square leg umpire's feet, and his back wasn't quite long enough to get back into line to prod the ball away, as we see a close-up of a man, a Bangladeshi supporter, in tears.
This little spell is good news for one of our compadres. Get It Quietly, Andy Ward, who in one of our pre-tournament betting columns tipped up Mitchell Stark as leading wicket taker in the tournament. He's got 2 quick ones there. So if you're listening,
was he
Andy.
the favourite?
Yeah, he was, but still there at 10 to 1.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
He was probably the leading wicket taker in the World Cup in 2015, wasn't he? He certainly had a very good World Cup.
That I don't know.
I think it was a dead heat.
Was it a dead heat?
Something like that.
He
With
certainly-
Bolt.
Oh, he could well be, but
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't. If you could look it up, I'd just be interested.
I will
I'm
do, yeah.
pretty sure he had pretty good stats in that. And all in all, I mean, I think he's a slightly better white ball bowler than he is red ball bowler.
Do you think so? Okay.
I think he occasionally gets confused in red ball cricket. I really do. I mean, I think he just gets. I mean, in 2015. Hazelwood, I can understand. It was his first tour over here, etc. And he's quite young. Stark's played a good bit of county cricket. He's been around for a while, and I thought he had a pretty poor tour for them in the last Ashes Test series over here. New man to the crease. We'll jingle him up after this ball. Oh well, we'll have to jingle him up now because he's on his way. Thank you for coming.
Oh dear.
And goodbye.
Yeah. There he is.
Due to massive interest, the test was scheduled, the lineups were set, and the crowd side.
He's not getting any more of his jingle because he's out already.
Yeah, it was Rubel. And like Mortaza, he backed outside leg stump, didn't really fancy getting in line to Stark. Full and straight, and
Much like Piers Morgan.
And
Bretley.
Oh no! I have none of that. Sorry, it was not in the cowardice category of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan would have been. He'd have been in the gasometer. He'd have been so far away from that. He'd have been backing away that far. No, we're on a hat trick. So we have a new man to the crease, and we'll presumably have a jingle for him.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. In due course.
And yes, this is all coming to an abrupt end.
If it's not ready, Mitchell Stark 22 wickets at 10 in the last World Cup, played 8 games. Trent Bolt also 22 wickets, but he played a game more, averaging 16.
Oh,
Wow.
Expensive. Oh, drop him.
Well, this man, who's just coming to bat, has a bowling average of only 17 in 19.
What's his batting
games
average
thus
like?
far.
Not so
less good.
Oh, he copies 9 and 10 by backing away outside leg stump.
Oh, not even at all. It's the fizz. It's the one above it. It's this one.
The captain is really using his noodle. He's decided that it's time for ramen.
Get it?
Yeah, and that was missed off stump by a fraction, maybe an inch and a half.
Can we call that a three-quarter hat trick? 3 wickets in 4 balls?
You could do. I mean, Andy Caddick, 2004.
Four wickets in
against the Windies,
5
wasn't it?
balls.
Somehow he gets something on that. Reluctantly, he almost stayed in line. Bit of bat, bit of pad. It squirts away on the onside. Mitchell Stark can afford himself a wry smile.
Yeah.
He's taken 3 for 28, all those 3 wickets in this over. And Bangladesh have subsided to 181 for 9.
Frankly, Mitchell Stark, in these conditions, with the score as it is, bowling to tail-enders is just not a fair contest, is it?
No, it's not. And if you get a class bowlers, it doesn't matter. It's quick or slow. I mean, that's a good thing about proper bowlers. They can knock over the tail. And it'll be Mahedi, who, despite the carnage at the other end, has batted quite nicely. He's got 14 from 19 deliveries, and looks as though he's got a technique to me as a batter.
And Will's just popped his head round the door from next door to inform us that was a triple wicket maiden.
It was
by
indeed.
Mitchell Stark. You don't get many of those to the Greeble.
No, you don't. Didn't Andy Caddick get 2-4 wickets in an over in that game? Or have I made that up? One in each innings. As Cummings in bowls, just back of a length, Mahedi defends into the offside, and there is no run. It remains 181 for 9.
I mean, that was the most ludicrous game. I certainly remember one.
2000, wasn't it? It was 2000 at
2000,
Headingley, and
the game was over in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I certainly remember one 4-wicket over where he got 2 and 2, separated by 1. I think he got 4 in 5 balls. I don't remember the other one though. Incredible game.
Cummings in bowls, and it's defended well by Mahedi, who presses forward and pushes into the onside, and there is no run. And if he stays with it, Mahedi, I think he's going to be a very fine player, because I mean he's already a good bowler, and he's learnt an awful lot in his 19 years, and he looks as though he might end up as a genuine number, even a number 6.
Could be, yeah. He's got the technique.
Yeah, hasn't he? I mean, he looks calm at the crease. He doesn't. He's in bowls. And having said that, well, I suppose
needs must.
Yeah, indeed, it's a situation. He backed outside leg stump and just gave it the kitchen sink. He got an under edge ball, a cannon down into the pitch, and dribbled through to the keeper, and there is no run. But when Tamlin was there and he was batting properly, he looked a proper bat, don't you think?
Yeah, pretty compact. Stays still at the crease.
Yeah.
Good foot movement, forward and back. Simple game.
Yeah. Should be. He wouldn't have known it last over. Cummings in bowls, and Mehdi Hassan gives himself just a little bit of room to try and open up the offside. Can only guide the ball out to extra cover, and again there is no run. I think only rain can save the Bangladesh from here. I think this is inevitable, because even if Australia lose a couple early, I mean, you can't bring any pressure to bear with such a meagre total. I mean, they can afford just to kick it around, can't they? For 20 overs, it doesn't matter. Cummins in bowls, and short, and swing and a miss from Hassan. And fair enough in this situation, 9 down. He's got a muppet at the other end, I mean, any runs that Bangladesh are going to get are going to have to come from him.
Who's with us on tweets?
Yeah, we got messages said it was worth staying up just for the Murtaza jingle. John Papano, Bangladesh circling the drain again, and Cricket 365 yawning gulf between the top 5 ODI sides and the rest, especially outside of Asia.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair call, as Hassan tries to ramp that ball up and over the line of a first or second slip. He doesn't get anything on it, just a little bit quicker than he'd probably want. Flashes through to Wade, who takes at the end of the over. More comedy will now ensue.
was that another maiden?
I think he was, yes.
Yeah. So last 12 deliveries, 0 runs and 3 wickets. Yeah, I think that gulf that... was that Messi Jez tweeted about that?
No, Cricket 365.
Yeah, okay. Our friends at Cricket 365. That gulf that exists notionally between the top 5 and the rest has been exacerbated by the likes of Pakistan and Sri Lanka sort of falling away as... They have been powerhouses in this form of the game. Sri Lanka won the World Cup, and so have Pakistan in not too distant past.
Stark in bowls. Before he'd even released the ball, he was no more than 2 foot outside leg stump. He does not look comfortable at the crease. Stark pitches the ball up. It's outside off stump. He can afford himself a a wry grin. I mean, you might as well just have a slog, fella.
Is he brave enough to give him the charge? You may as well.
As soon as Stark gets one straight,
That
it's
should be
all
that.
over.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. Just pull him straight and should be through him in bowls. He guides that way. He somehow chips that through the gap in the offside with the field up. How many runs are they going to take? Are they going to take 2? Or are they just going to allow him to get off strike? No.
I think the Fizz will be delighted to get off strike.
Fizz at the non-striker's end, which is where he does his best batting, I find. And he'll allow Hassan to take the majority of this over.
Leaning on his, as you called it, his shooting stick earlier on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, Bangladesh needed to perform right at the zenith of their abilities, and they've not.
He bowls and it's all over. Mahdi Hassan attempts a big extra cover drive. He misses. Stark hits, and he is out. He's the last man out for 14, and Bangladesh has been bowled out in 44.3 overs for 182. And that's at least 60 too few, you fancy. Yeah, a sad clatter of wickets there at the end, and the catalyst being Tamim, who was the key wicket, who really played a lone hand in that Bangladesh innings of 90 odd and batted very well, but he needed assistance from the other end. He got very little indeed, and Australia should, bar rain interruptions, should chase this down fairly comfortably, you'd have thought.
Yeah, bar hilarity.
Yes.
You always just hang in the game in case hilarity ensues.
Yeah, we can hope. There's always hope. Yeah, indeed. They have managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory before Australia, so here's hoping. But I can't see it today. So Tamim out for 95. The next best scorer, Shakib, who made 29, and any other man in double figures, Mahdi Hassan, last out, bold start for 14, and start picking up 4 wickets, Zampa 2, and Hazelwood, Cummings, Head and Enriquez 1 apiece.
Would you like the full scorecard?
Yes, please do that.
Good order, yeah. So Tamim, who scored the lion's share of Bangladesh's run today, scored 95 before he was caught. Hazelwood bowled stuck. Sumya Saka was out for 3, caught Wade, bowled Hazelwood. Keys was caught Finch, bowled Cummings. Mushfiqur Rahim was LBW to Enriquez for 9. Shakib Al Hassan was LBW to Travis Head for 29. Sabir Rahman was caught Smith, bowled Zampa for 8. Mahmudullah was bowled Zampa for 8. And then the last 3 batsmen were all bowled by Mitchell Stark. Mahedi for 14. Mashrafa Mortaza, the captain, for a big old duck. And similar comments for Rubal Hossain. And the bowling figures were Mitchell Stark got those 4 late wickets for 29 runs from 8.5 overs. Bowled very well, as did all the seamers, I thought. Josh Hazelwood was 1 for 40 off 10. Pat Cummins 1 for 22 from 8. Travis Head 1 for 33 off 8. Moises Enriquez was 1 for 30 from 5. Adam Zampa 2 for 13 from 4. And just 1 over from the big show, Glenn Maxwell, for 9 runs. 182 all out from 44.5 overs. So they left a few out there, haven't they? 5.5 overs unused.
Yeah, well, and you sort of get the sort of Owen Morgan point that if you're sort of 310 all out and sort of 4 or 5 overs unused, I sort of get that. But 182 with 4 or 5 overs unused, it's a bit of a horror show. Yeah,
even if you just nerdled your way up to 210 and used all the overs, people would say, well, you should have kicked on. But it's better than being in this position, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would have needed to perform to the limit of their ability, you would think, to make this a game. They haven't done that. Australia need a pretty meagre 183. But let's see what the weather does. It looks pretty dark there at the Oval at the moment to me.
Well, here's hoping.
Any thoughts there, Ian?
Yeah, I just can't see it being anywhere near enough. I mean, 300 wasn't enough the other day. used pitch. They used it on Saturday, so maybe 270 might have been enough.
I think
on
that's
this.
Yeah, I think that's fair comment. I don't think this is a sort of 340, 350 pitch. And as you say, 300 might well have been a winning score. Even 270, you've got something to defend, but 182. I mean, you're naked, aren't you?
Things have to go very, very right for Bangladesh, very wrong for Australia. A couple of tweets just to pick up. Cricket 365. He wanted to see Taskin play because he's a contender for the worst number 11. Although the Fizz...
there's quite a lot of competition for that particular accolade.
In his own team.
Although the Fizz was having a good go out doing him.
Right.
Knuckle Pandy, spots of rain on my office windows. Facing Stark and Cummins in this can't have been fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not something any of us would want to do. I think speak for both of you on that.
Yeah.
You can absolutely speak on my behalf on that
you
front.
can, but I think we do a better show, put up a better show than would Piers Morgan.
Basically in anything that we attempted in our lives.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We were talking about that remarkable Caddick performance against West Indies in 2000, and Will was kind enough to write out, as we say, goodbye to the bear for a couple of hours. He goes to do swimming duties. Make of that what you will. So the Caddick over against West Indies in 2000, where he took 4 wickets in an over. The over went as follows. It went wicket, which is an LBW, wicket, bowled, then a dot, then another wicket, also bowled, then a dot, then, and here's the genius part, a no ball, and then off the ball he had to bowl again, another wicket bowled. And I forget which one of those it was, in which order, but one of them, it was just such a full, late swinging delivery that pitched basically on the batsman's crease.
Yeah.
And whoever it was...
but I'm sure one of the 4 was Ridley Jacobs.
Well,
I'm sure
you may well be right.
Because I remember him being absolutely castled. And I'm sure he must have been in that one of those 4.
Well, he was also there at the other end with Brian Lara for a lot of his 400 in Antigua, which I was... well, in inverted commas, fortunate enough to be at live to witness. It was a very boring innings, that 400.
Yes, it was, save that I did...
It was history,
It was history, and also I thought I was going to actually see Batty explode, which I was looking forward to.
Yeah, because...
his non-turning off breaks didn't seem to be troubling Big Brian that much.
And I think he was only playing Batty because Gilo had... suddenly developed a sort of tummy bug on seeing
how
featherbed pitch.
I've just got the scorecard for that one up here.
Oh, well done you.
Ridley Jacobs was first out, so it's 22.1 overs. So Jacobs was LBW Caddick for 1.
Ah, okay.
22.3, Dixon McLean was bowled by Caddick on his second ball. And then immediately after that, Curtly Ambrose was bowled by Caddick first ball. And then on 22.6, King, I can't remember his first name, R.D. King. I don't remember him too
Rion
much.
King?
Rion King,
that's it.
yeah, bowled Caddick for third ball. And then the innings was wrapped up when he got Courtney Walsh bowled about 2 overs later.
Talking about great number 11th, the great Courtney Walsh.
Did he sort of pioneer, did he indeed trademark that sort of windscreen wiper leave that we now see the likes of Steve Smith do?
Well, I think...
And Jack Russell used to do it as well.
He did. The first person I ever saw playing that sort of the curtain rail shot, I think, was Bob Willis.
Okay.
He played... I remember him at the Oval in 1980 against, it must be said, a proper attack. And dear old Bob Willis managed to hang in with Peter Willey for a considerable period of time. I think Bob Willis scored about 3 and Peter Willis scored about 60. And they were crucial runs against a pretty mean attack.
Peter Willey was a very talented... he's more renowned as being quite nuggety and sort of brave and hard. Yeah.
He was hard.
Flinty. Massive forearms.
Yeah. Description.
But, you know, he could cream those shots. Probably like no other batsman I can remember apart from maybe Robin Smith through the covers and square point sort of area.
But I remember his... I'm pretty sure it was the first series he played Test cricket was in against West Indies in 1976. and they were beginning to put their quartet of quick bowlers together.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been up at Old Trafford, doesn't really matter, but and they were all crucial innings at the time. And he played forward to, I think it was Wayne Daniel, and all it was literally just a forward defensive. And it was obviously so much pace on the ball, coupled with such good timing, and it just shot through the covers for 4.
Yeah.
And he was literally just a forward defensive, and you thought, bloody hell.
Yeah. It's like the old Jeff Boycott. You got to get on the front foot to whack a Eunice when he was sending down those exocets in the early 90s. Very easy for you to say, Jeff, when you're 10 or 15 years retired. Well, certainly 10 years retired. Although Jeff Boycott was, let's not deny it, one of the all-time greats in the English game.
He was. He was.
Did he miss 3 years of Test cricket when it was the...
He did, but I mean, I think there were reasons for that. I mean, he was seeing utter muppets who were given the captaincy in front of him. Now, whether or not you could argue whether he should ever have been the England captain, because his diplomacy skills are possibly somewhat lacking, some might say. But I could see why he was getting so irritated by the whole setup in those days. But I think it'd be slightly unfair to say he dipped out of Test cricket to avoid Thompson and Lilly. I mean, over the years, he faced some of the real quicks.
Yeah, David Lloyd came in for a little while. Was that during Boycott's exile?
Yeah, he
played,
did.
He played like a hand.
75.
Yeah, he played. What did he play? Like 10 Test matches, including a double 100.
Double 100 at Old Trafford, I think.
Was it Old Trafford?
Yeah,
and
against
dropped not long afterwards.
India, and then, well, like so many, he was found out in Australia against Lilly and Thompson, but then many were.
Yeah, and then that famous bit of footage of him getting smashed in the knackers, basically, by Jeff Thompson.
When they penalised him. That's all I've been penalised him.
What did he say? Something like, everything that should have been on the inside was on the outside. You just thought, that's horrible, terrible image there. Poor old Bumble.
But apparently, because that's one of his lines in his stand-up, when he went off to see the nurse, he said, "Can you take this? Can you take the pain away and leave the swelling?"
Very nice.
We've got some other tweets. Ravinair's let it rain. English weather. Do it for the Bangles. Manic Monday or some such.
Yes, exactly.
Do I have the wrong band?
I made that weak pun opening the show earlier on. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Nako, you said, sad news from other sports. Former Newcastle midfielder Czech Toyota has collapsed and died during training, and he's only 30.
Oh, my God.
So, that's sort of thing that I think it was Mark Vivian Foe who played for West Ham.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabrice Muamba.
Yeah.
Obviously, he survived.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's something similar along those lines.
God, how horrendous, yeah.
Well, look, Eternal Rain's been suggested as a Bangles song, so that would work. That's the Badger.
They also did a great version of Hazy Shade of Winter, which if we don't get a Hazy Shade of Winter in the second innings, then we got half a chance of annoying Australians, and that would be amusing.
And Cricket 365 suggested that Steve Smith needs a fidget spinner.
He is a fidget spinner. That's a great. I might start calling him the fidget spinner from now on. Who's that? Cricket 365?
Yeah, that was,
Our chums over there. Manny, you've got to go fairly soon.
I do,
yes. But why don't we, instead of playing you some old highlights, why don't we instead keep wibbling away?
Yeah, I'm happy to wibble.
I might ask you some questions about your long and illustrious cricket watching and playing career. So we've spoken a little bit over the few months I've been privileged to know you, and you've spoken about some of the greats that you've seen in the game, some of the players that played at Gloucester, for example, in the 70s and early 80s. Favourite ever batsman that you've watched?
Oh, that's really difficult to bring it down to one. I think the best batsman I've ever seen, and therefore I think I've got to go. If I've got to pick one, it's Barry Richards. I thought he was. Yeah. I thought he. Viv Richards was more destructive on his day, but I thought his brother. Talented family, really. But I thought Barry Richards sadly lost to Test cricket, and rightly so. We know the reasons why. But they played just the 4 Test matches, average 70 in those.
Jeez.
And yeah, I think he's the best player I've ever seen.
What do you think? What do you think marked him out as being that much better than his peers and anyone else you've ever seen?
Well, I mean, stop me if you've heard the story before, but he was playing county cricket for Hampshire, and they were trying to save a game, and there were 5 wickets down, and he's batting at the other end with this guy Peter Sainsbury. He was a middle order batsman, bowled off spin. You know, he was county stalwart. And Barry Richards got 100, and they got another 2 sessions to bat out to save the game. And he came down and apparently said to Peter Sainsbury, well, Peter, give me something to think about or do, because I'm getting bored now. And I know I'm going to get out, so give me a challenge. Talking of which, that he's on screen, Barry Richards. Oh. And Peter Sainsbury, just as a joke, he said, well, I think to their spinners, you should try and see if you can play the ball defensively with the and turn your bat sideways on and play with the edge of your bat.
No way.
And he said, that's a brilliant idea. I'll do that. He said, now I'm concentrating. And he did. He did.
And who's that against?
I can't remember which side they were playing, and I wish I could. But he was ridiculously good. I saw him in a do you remember the John Player League?
Yeah.
You're old enough to remember
Yeah.
that? And he was playing against Essex. And Ray, who's the left arm? Ray East was the nutcase was bowling to him, bowling around the wicket to him. Barry Richards backed away, gave himself a little bit of room, and late cut him. So Ray East thought, well, sod you, pal. He said, you're not late cutting the next ball. Fired it in quicker, flatter, and even more to leg stump. Barry Richards ran back. Late cutting for 4. To which Ray thought, okay, right. The next ball he fired, and I promise you, he fired it, and had it on its line. It was going down the leg side by about 1.5 feet. Barry Richards ran back and late cut him for yet another 4. Beautiful. At which point, Ray just burst out laughing. He said, well, how can I bowl to a guy like that?
Tell me at least had a third man in.
So, yeah, I think if I've got to pick one, I'll go Barry Richards.
Yeah, so that's a very good shout. You mentioned your love for Zahir Abbas as well on this show.
Yeah, lovely batter.
What made him special, do you think?
I just thought he had such a grace, and I mean, just everything seemed easy to him. And also, I mean, when he first played for Pakistan, when I was first aware of him playing for Pakistan, I mean, he came over here as a young man. Pakistan were not a good side.
Yeah.
You know, they'd come over here and they'd get rolled. I mean, that's just the way of cricket in those days.
Yeah.
And he came along and he just scored. And he just had such confidence in his own ability right from the word go. In England, you know, they were a decent side in those days. They just come off an Ashes win under Illingworth. So, John Snow, he was getting towards the end of his career, but he's still a bloody fine bowler. And then, particularly in English conditions. And
what are we talking, 73?
I think he was over here. I was going to say he was definitely here in 74, but I think he came over here in 71.
Right.
So that was immediately after the Ashes series, and he scored stacks of runs, and he just made it look quite easy, and it wasn't. And so I just thought I just liked the way he played. I thought there was a beauty to his game.
We're just seeing some pictures of Glenn McGrath, who we may have different feelings about as a player, but we mentioned before the action stopped at the end of the Bangladesh innings about that's right, you were talking about Mitchell Starc perhaps being a better white ball bowler than he is a red ball or test match bowler. And I remember seeing something about McGrath not too long ago, which was fascinating, because not much about him is fascinating. He's actually a pretty dull man. But I found this fascinating, and I'm not a bowler, I was a batsman when I played. But he was talking about, right, in the nets, on bowling test matches, the aim of the game is getting wickets, right? And although he was metronomic, famously so, he was bowling wicket-taking deliveries. When he bowled in one-day matches, he said, well, the object of the game is not to take wickets. The object of the game is to stop the opposition scoring. So you bowl different balls. You don't bowl... and for McGrath to say that, for McGrath, a man who bowled that, you know, immaculate line and length and just back of a length and nipping around, to adjust his game in the one-day format, I found that absolutely, fascinating watch, really.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I wonder whether he would be the same now, because there seems to be sort of the mindset now in white ball cricket is that as a bowling unit, try to bowl in an attacking vein, get wickets, and that's the way that you'll restrict the run rate. Whereas I agree, in McGrath's day, they were probably saying, okay, we'll bowl a slightly more negative line, pack the offside or whatever it be, and restrict them that way and frustrate the batsmen. And I think it's sort of come full circle now, don't you think?
Possibly, yeah.
Where you get attacking bowlers charging in and...
but I can also believe it of McGrath, because I think he is that sort of actuarial in his approach to the game. He hated conceding runs.
I've got news. Wendy Wimbush has just handed me a piece of paper. 1971, Zaheer Abbas, first test, Edgbaston, 274 not out.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah, and he must have been early 20s at the time, I'm sure. Because I was
just looking him up. Born 1947, I think. So 24, 23, 24.
Okay. Yeah. So we've had a couple. Thank you very much, Wendy, Jason. We've had a couple of your all-time favourite batsmen. Then, Manny, thinking about bowlers. Then, who in all of history, in all of your cricket watching career, would you put right up at the top of the tree?
Well, from my youth, it would definitely be John Snow, because I mean he was a mighty fine bowler. I mean, even the mean-spirited man Ian Chappell. He may have had thumb screws on at the time, but he was talking about that 71 series, and he said there were quite a few in the hutch who were frightened. I know it was pre-helmets and it was a different game, so he would definitely be him, because I remember him bowling. It was the first Ashes test that I went to. My dad took me 1968, and he bowled to Barry Jarman, who was their wicketkeeper batsman, and I know the equipment wasn't as good in those days. But I remember he damaged his hand, his left hand, wicketkeeping in the first innings, in England's first innings. Then he had to come out to bat, and John Snow hit him on the left hand, and I still remember. I mean, he just ran off the field yelling. He was just so... I mean, he was 2 yards too quick for Barry Jarman.
Wow, yeah.
And you could just see... So, yeah, he'd definitely be up there, because, I mean, it's things in your youth that stick in your mind more. So him...
He was seriously pacey.
Yeah, Mike Holding, definitely, because...
The finest action ever?
Without question. And, I mean, I love the fact that he had... I went to see him. He did two things that unbelievable that I've ever seen on a cricket pitch. One, which I've got a picture of at home, was the only Test series that they lost during that period when they were cheated.
New Zealand,
in New Zealand. Yeah. And he's got so frustrated, and there's a picture of him at home when he's kicking the stump out of the ground. And even then, it is a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
His follow through, his leg is, it's like a dancer leg. His leg is up by his head. He's followed through so far. And in the 1979 World Cup, we got tickets to go to watch the semi-final against Pakistan. West Indies got something like 260, 270. Pakistan had a really good side. And Asif, and I think it could well have been Zaheer, were batting together. And they had whoever was their part-time bowler. It could have been Viv Richards, whoever was trying to kill a few overs off spin. Asif Iqbal, on about 48, hit it straight down long on's throat, which was Holding, fielding about 3 yards in front of us. He dropped it. And he just thought, that could well be the game. 2 overs later, exactly the same happened, but a much more difficult catch. So on the run, but in front of us again. And he takes the catch, and he is so relieved that he's taken the catch. He throws the ball, and there's adrenaline pumping through his... And in those days, the oval was... the playing area was massive. Do you remember it from a kid?
Yeah.
Before they built the OCS stand. So it's absolutely vast. And he takes about a 3-pace run up and just hurls the ball, and it goes from one end of the oval to the other, one bounce and over the boundary. And I just...
Like 100 metres or something.
It's just ridiculous. I went, crikey.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the sheer relief of having taken the catch. So, yeah, he's up there, definitely, because, I mean, he was just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, beautiful. And then I'm going to press you on wicket keepers next.
Oh, Alan Knott. It's simple. Yeah, Alan Knott. Yeah. I was very, very fortunate to be at university down there, and they didn't have any indoor facilities, the county, so they used to come up and use the university facilities, and you'd be up there, and you could be a net bowler for them and whatever else. And in those days, all the batsmen used to have a bat, and then they'd all just bugger off to the pub, because that's what batsmen did. If the others then either didn't get a bat unless you were there to bowl to them, so you bowled to the likes of Derek Underwood and whatever else. And I was there right at the end, and I've been bowling away for about an hour or so, and they said, "Oh, do you want a bat?" And I said, "Yeah." And Underwood said, "Well, yeah, I'd like a bit more bowling practice." So I had the great good fortune for about 20 minutes of facing in an indoor net Derek Underwood, and behind the stumps Alan Knott.
Oh,
wow.
And it was just unbelievable. I managed to lay a bat on 2 or 3 of them.
Very good.
But not many. Eventually, but Alan Knott turned to me and said, because I was just scraping forward, and he was turning it bloody miles, and he was quick.
Yeah.
And he said the thing to do, he said, is just assume, if you can't read him, just assume that everything is his arm ball coming into you, and just play the line of off stump. If he turns, it's going to beat your outside edge anyway.
Yeah.
And once you did that, then you play him a bit. But Alan Knott for me every time. I'm out of here.
The reverse chirp there from
Sorry, it was Richards.
from Alan Knott.
Right. Richards was bowling, and Holding took the catch, and it was Asif Iqbal. Yes, indeed. Right, 204 became 205. I mean, what backup staff we have.
There we are.
Yeah, a
Thank
few
you.
tweets.
Yeah, get some tweets in there.
Backup. Ravi there. Boycott was an England great, the way Azharuddin was an India great, or Cronje for South Africa.
Controversial.
Yeah, Messi Jez has got.
Hang on. We can't let that slide.
Okay.
I wouldn't put. I mean, Cronje did a job for that team when they came back into the fold. And did it very well, and did it with a certain degree of dignity. And what happened after that is well publicised. But I'm not sure that if you look at his figures as a batsman, that I would put him in the same league as the likes of Boycott and Azharuddin.
Nor would I. And I go back, my mind goes back to 1994 at the Oval, when somebody had upset Devon Malcolm. And we've seen the tail enders in Bangladesh backing away. Cronje didn't want to know. I mean, he bowled neck and crop by Devon Malcolm, and I'll be generous. He gave himself a little bit of room.
Right. He wasn't looking to smear him over extra cover, was he?
No, he wasn't. I'd take issue with that. Azharuddin, definitely.
Yeah.
And I know he's had his difficulties off the pitch as well, but he was a wonderful, wonderful batsman.
Messi Jez has a Barry Richards memory. Richards made 356 for South Australia against a Western Australia attack, including Mackenzie, Lilly, Tony Locke, and 325 of them come on the first day.
Oh my good God!
Well, he was. I'm pretty sure that was the deal, because he got a deal to go over there because South Africa were banned from Test cricket at the time, and he gets the deal over there. And I think he was on something like an Aussie dollar a run, so which probably concentrated in mind, which seems a risible amount now, but was big money there.
Well, you could probably put a note on it, can't you, at least?
Yeah.
And what's your opinion on Jack Russell as a keeper? That's a question from Dave Wood.
I think he's a very fine keeper, but not as good as Alan Knott, who I just thought, I mean, he was just freakishly good. I mean, one more story about him. They had after the Ashes tour in 70-71, in the worst tour down there, and in those days, the tour was, sort of 3 months long. And they played all the stateside, they played up-country games. The understudy was Bob Taylor, who played, I think, 2 games, maybe 3. And they were sitting down afterwards. The Ashes won, historic. There's Ellingworth, Snow, Underwood, and Bob Willis having a beer, and they're chatting away. And obviously, Alan Knott's not there because I don't think he drank at all. And they're chatting away, where was the series won or lost, or whatever else. And Derek Underwood said, well, can anyone remember Alan Knott dropping anything? And they played 6 test matches, and they all looked around each other and said, no. That's because he didn't miss a chance in 3 months. That's quite good.
Ah, man, yeah, clearly an all-time great. And I was not fortunate enough to see him live. I have seen Jack Russell live, and I'm not going to make the case that he was better than Knott. He probably wasn't, but he was certainly a fantastic performer and an incredible talent in his own right. Standing up to Mike Smith, who was pretty quick for Gloucestershire in a one-day final against Somerset in the early 2000s. I remember that, and I'll never forget that because I used to keep wicket as well, and it's a bloody hard thing to do.
Ridiculously difficult.
And he's literally standing up to one of the quickest bowlers in the country and making it look easy.
And he also was part of that Atherton rearguard action.
Oh, yeah.
When he upset Macmillan hugely. So
he upset everyone.
Which was, was just fantastic. I mean, that was just a... typical wicketkeepers, he had a quirky way of batting, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we mentioned before the old curtain rail. And I've seen Atherton speak about this. That particular game where Atherton was 185, was it? Not
185
out?
Not out, yeah.
And I think Russell was 29 or...
I think you're exactly... I think that's exactly what it is.
Off hundreds of balls and 4 or 5 sessions. I mean, absolutely ludicrous display of attritional cricket, but beautiful nonetheless.
Okay, here's a bit of trivia for you. Who was the South African spinner in that Test match? I don't think he played again.
One. Oh, really? Really?
Because he didn't turn a ball in about 500 overs.
No, it was not Paul Adams.
And it wasn't Eddie Hemmings.
It's not Paul Adams then. Oh, so the England...
No, I'm just...
Adams was picked later in that tour. It'd be someone else before that.
No, I can't think off the top of my head.
I think his name was Eckstein. Eckstein.
Yeah.
Clive Eckstein, I think.
Clive Eckstein, yeah.
Yeah. That was. But talking of Brian McMillan, I thought he was a decent player. He looked like Roger Ramjet.
Oh,
and
he did.
The squarest jaw you'll ever see.
And also, one at the time, before Callis came on the scene, I thought he was the best slip catcher around. He made it look so ridiculously... I know he had bucket hands, which helps, but he just didn't drop it.
Well, I'd say there were 2 years in that... About the time they came to tour over here in 94... Probably 2 years then. He was the best all-rounder in the world.
Yeah,
I think without question.
Yeah.
The slip catching thing, I always put Mark Waugh up there.
Yeah.
I think he's the best I've seen live. I mean, if you go back in history, the likes of, well, not that distant history, but the likes of Graham Roop and people like that who were fantastic slip fieldsmen, weren't they? Botham was obviously fantastic also. Matthew Hayden was good. I hate to say it, but he was good, particularly to the spinners, actually, particularly to Warren. He was incredible.
He was. I mean, and that's a slightly different. Well, it's a totally different skill, being able to do it to the slow bowlers. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Mark Waugh, just as a cricketer, I mean, despite the fact he's Australian, I actually love watching him bat.
Well, again, back to the whip through the onside that I think you mentioned from, was it Azharuddin?
Yeah.
Remember, I always think of Mark Waugh just taking it from outside off stump. And I mean, Viv Richards back in the day as well, but Mark Waugh just played that shot.
Yeah, I mean, Richards, that shot that Richards played was more frenetic. It was more violent. I mean, Mark Waugh's was just a thing of absolute beauty.
Well, I've written about this before. It managed to be both languid and violent at the same time somehow, because it flew. It absolutely flew.
It did. I mean, he was a beautiful player.
Yeah.
Sort of in marked contrast to his brother.
Much more beautiful than his brother, and yet his brother
was a better cricketer.
Yeah.
I know it's galling to admit, but he was. I mean, the stats tell you he was better.
Must be galling to be called Junior. In that sort of family.
God, he's had a tough life, eh?
I don't think he's that bothered, actually.
Nor me.
So I'm certainly not going to get bothered on his behalf.
No. And yeah, I suppose the other guy to mention in that sort of languid, beautiful category would be David Gower, who I thought was just spellbinding.
Well,
at
he's
times.
probably my favourite batsman of all time. Yeah. And what was his average in the end of was it 70, 47, somewhere around there in Test cricket?
DG.
Yeah.
DIG. David Ivan. Was it Ivan or
I'll
Ivan?
take your word for it. We need Cato. Cato's brilliant on the cricketers.
Middle names.
Well, initials and names.
Yeah.
It was somewhere around.
I was going to say 44, but I could be wrong. But in those days, averages have changed. I mean, they, without question. 40 always used to be the hallmark.
It used to be the benchmark,
for a proper Test batter, and now it's probably nearer 50, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. 45, I'd probably say.
44.25.
Was it?
45, yeah. Sorry. How Anna-Rakish.
No,
I didn't know that. But also, from my youth, a guy again, I just used to get mesmerised by watching bowling, as did many batsmen as well. Was Bisham Bedi. I could watch bowl all day. They weren't a great side in those days because they didn't bother fielding, and they only had 2 or 3 guys who batted.
Not much in the pace department either.
No, they didn't.
Apart from that, they were fantastic.
But he was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I remember seeing Abdul Qadir in the early 80s when Pakistan toured, and thinking I'd never seen anything like that before. Just the way he used to spin the catch to himself, so almost used to flick it off his bicep. I don't know if that's my mind playing tricks on me, but I thought he's just like a little genie, this man.
Yeah, but do you remember that 82 series? Do you remember the England against Pakistan 82 series when Abdul Qadir came over here? And it was a brilliant. It was only a 3-test series, which is a shame because I wish it had been 5 because England ended up winning it 2-1, but they were really exciting games, all of them. I remember, I think it was at Trembridge. I might have made that up, but Derek Randall was facing Abdul Qadir, and quite clearly he couldn't read him at all. So Derek Randall thought, well, sod this, I'm basically going to have a slog. And he slogged. He played some good shots in there as well, but he had all the luck going, and he got 100. And poor old Abdul Qadir, you can see him getting more and more frustrated. He kept on bowling beautifully to Randall, and should have had him out, half a dozen times. And it was just one of those days where Randall luck was in, and he scored 100.
Love Randall.
Well, you could not like him, could you? Because every time he got down the non-striker's end, he was probably telling him he's far too good to be bowling at the likes of Randall. But he was box office, Derek Randall.
Drizzling at the Oval. Knuckle reports, covers on. He says it's pretty windy down there, so hopefully it'll blow over.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
We have more news. What we might do, chaps, if everyone's all right, maybe a couple more tweets. We might have a little break because the covers are on. It is raining.
Yeah, we're up to date with the tweets.
You've indulged us with some wibble. I've really enjoyed hearing Manny's reminiscences. But now, it's DLS par scores for 20 overs. This is what they currently are. If there are no wickets down after 20 overs, the par score is 41. 1 wicket down, the par score is 48. 2 wickets down, the par score is 58. 3 wickets down, the par score is 69. I reckon any of those scenarios the Australians could probably cover. However, what might be more amusing, and we'll be back to give you news of this, is if we don't get a game. So if we don't get to 20 overs, it's not a game, and it will be points shared, and that'll be very frustrating for Australia and very funny for us. Now, in the meantime, thank you for your indulgences, your tweets, and your continued support and listenership. We'll be back with you shortly, but in the meantime, I'm going to give you some more highlights. I'm going to press the last thing that was pressed here, so we'll be back with you when there's more news. Laters.
Advantage over England. I like Moeen Ali, but there's no question that Nathan Lyon is a better bowler.
All series.
He's a more experienced bowler. He's definitely not only 27 years old. And that one's full outside off stump from Johnson, and Root doesn't really get hold of it. He just ends up bunting it back down the track to the bowler. There's no run. He has a look at the bottom of his bat.
It's going to break soon. If he keeps doing that, it's going to break. Hey, but they have a load in the locker, don't they?
Just get another one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how many do they tend to count? Is it about half a dozen the main batsmen tend to take with them, and then bowlers have about 2? How many do you have if you're an all-rounder then? 4?
Maybe. Who knows?
I know, that's a very uninteresting segue. As Johnson comes back in over the wicket to Root, who flicks him round the corner off leg stump, and that is whizzing away down to the boundary.
2 + 2 is a man.
And that takes England into the lead. What are we?
How long did that take?
Yeah. We are 5 minutes from drinks on in the second session on day 1. And England lead this test match. England are winning, we can gloat.
Does this get through to the third day, or is it all over tomorrow afternoon?
I think it's going to a third.
Early day 3.
Yeah.
No,
I think
pretty
I've got
much a
Sunday off
replay of the
work.
last test.
Yeah, I'm meant to be covering this on Sunday. It's definitely not happening. I mean, Saturday I'm doing the rugby in the afternoon, so...
Not rugby?
Got something to... Wales, Ireland, I think I'm doing.
Is that a pre-World Cup thing?
That one's on off-stump from Johnson on a length. It's just defended into the offside by Joe Root, and there's no run.
Maybe on Sunday you could do a live text on Alistair Cook's family celebration of the victory. I'd read that. I'd follow that. Sunday lunch with the Cooks, live text commentary.
That will presumably involve watching Alistair Cook shoot poor innocent animals in the face like the twat that he is.
And how would you not want to read a live text commentary of Alistair Cook?
Well, I don't want to watch him shooting deer in the face.
Is that what Alistair Cook does? You're really changing my view of him.
Yeah, he hunts deer. If you Google it, you've got the laptop there. You can.
I can Google Alistair Cook.
Google it, and you'll find a picture of him with a carcass. As Johnson tries the bouncer to Joe Root, and he doesn't really play that. Well, he gets one of these for it. Yeah, he took his eye off the ball, but still. I've just traumatised poor Andy.
Wow.
I think.
He looks really hostile. You know, him with a sort of sniper rifle.
I know.
He looks a very angry man.
So I've done Joe Root an injustice there. That was very well played. He was on the back foot, which isn't the best way to play a pull shot, but he got right over the ball, good bat speed, and down to... No, the best puller... No, Hendo, the best players of the pull shot play off the front foot. You look at the way Peterson, Vaughan, Richards, even Shane Watson played it. They all play, and Ponting as well. All
Shane
played
Watson?
off the front foot. He was a good puller. He's a very good puller of the ball. All he can do, but that one is wanged miles down the leg side by the bowler, and Joe Root leaves it alone, and that's the end of the over. We got any tweets, Andy?
Yes, we do.
Or are you still
Jeff Perkins.
traumatised?
Well, I am. I'm getting over it. Although I've been made to feel better by the fact there's also a picture of Alistair Cook with a lovely dog. So that's more my vision of
He probably used it to hunt the deer.
He probably did.
Flush it out from the...
Jeff Perkins, after today you might see another picture of Cook with 11 carcasses. Wow, that's slightly dark.
We really should, about Australian cricket as well, we really shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah. Beardy head, someone with a sniper looks threatening. Well, no shit. Yeah, that was my perceptive analysis.
I know Bradley Cooper was an American sniper, and Bradley Cooper doesn't look threatening in anything, does he?
No. Wiggy, pinch me. A first innings lead after 3 hours 20 of cricket.
No, it's crazy.
Are we going to find out?
Starks in again to Cook, and it's on his off stump, but he just tucks that to mid-on, and I don't think they're going to take a run. They don't.
I'm going to have a comfort break.
Okay, does anyone want to come do jingles in case something happens while Bear's off? Dan's coming in, the other Dan. Oh, we'll just let him take up the microphone. What have you made for this afternoon session?
Well, it's fantastic, isn't it? You know, five in front and only 2 down, and it's wonderful to see, isn't it? It gives you sort of inner glow when we're starting to beat the Australians.
Especially when you think at how long England's batting lineup is, that makes you feel even better. That one is edge.